All right, let's jump right into today's explainer, where we're going to explore how human connection is built around sharing food and experiences, but across a wildly massive economic spectrum. Have you ever wondered what the actual difference is between treating someone on an unlimited sky's the limit budget versus navigating the gritty, penny-pinching realities of everyday domestic life? Well, today we're pulling from two totally distinct sources to look at the exact same human puzzle, how we actually show we care.
Here is how we're breaking this down today. First, the extremes of connection. Then we'll dive into the $1 million date fantasy, followed by VIP perks and theme parks. After that, we pivot sharply into the nightly kitchen battlefield, look at frugality and stale roti, and finally uncover the true cost of effort.
Okay, Section 1, the extremes of connection. As we start, it's wild to think that we're comparing two vastly different source materials today that surprisingly teach us the exact same lesson about relationships.
This right here brilliantly illustrates the jarring contrast we are dealing with. On one hand, you've got a millionaire's culinary fantasy, world-renowned chef Gordon Ramsay literally serving up exclusive pea guacamole and duck bao buns. And on the exact opposite side, we have the harsh reality of a new bride's first morning in her husband's home where she is served hot water and leftover, stale wedding roti. It's the ultimate juxtaposition of how food completely defines our relationships. Section 2, the $1 million date fantasy. Let's dive straight into the extreme, boundless fantasy from our first source, Jimmy, obviously better known as Mr. Beast, where absolutely unlimited resources are used to tackle relationship building head-on.
Now, you really have to track the sheer, staggering escalation of money spent here just to get some quality time with loved ones. We start out at a humble $1 Ferris wheel ride. Simple, right? But then the dial gets cranked to a $10,000 private dinner, jumps to a $50,000 private island for 4 couples, complete with jet skis and fireworks, and then doubles to a $100,000 date at a mega shopping complex. And yeah, they run it out the entire indoor ski resort and water park. It's basically a masterclass in using capital to force unforgettable memories. But hey, spoiler alert, money doesn't insulate you from everything. Even dropping 10 grand on a romantic sushi and duck bao bun dinner doesn't spare you from being called an idiot sandwich by Gordon Ramsay. He literally stages an argument, yelling at Jimmy and his friend, making them hold bread to their heads right in the middle of this romantic meal. It just goes to show that even in these high-end fantasies, manufactured drama is just part of the entertainment package. Section 3, VIP perks and theme parks. Let's see how this builds into the absolute upper echelons of dating fantasy. Because if 100 grand seemed like a lot, buckle up. Just look at the sheer volume of perks thrown at this one date. To help his awkward friend Nolan secure a second date, Jimmy funds a $250,000 blind date loaded with over-the-top gestures. He doesn't just get him a date, he gets superstar Madison beer. He feeds Nolan lines through a hidden earpiece. They casually drop a $10,000 tip for a waiter just to act as a wingman, donate 50 grand to a Gentle Barn animal sanctuary, rent out a VIP Angels baseball suite, and eat custom sushi on a private ice rink. I mean, it is an overwhelming carpet bombing of resources to guarantee a romantic connection.
And the fantasy culminates with the ultimate childhood dream, a $500,000 grand finale. They literally bought out Disneyland for the night. Can you even imagine the sheer logistics of that? All just so friends can walk right onto the Star Wars ride without waiting in a single line, play arcade games with 0 crowds, and have a totally private dinner right in front of the illuminated Disney castle, complete with their own private parade. When money is absolutely no object, connection is facilitated by entirely removing the friction of the real world.
Section 4, the nightly kitchen battlefield. Now, we are pivoting sharply from renting private islands and theme parks to the relatable, grounded reality of our Hindi domestic stories. Here, the main challenge isn't how to spend $500,000. It's simply deciding who has the energy to cook dinner after a long day. In Malti Devi's home, the cost of avoiding the kitchen leads to a total domestic standoff. The daughters-in-law are exhausted and flat out refuse to cook. So they hire a maid named Manju for 10,000 rupees a month. Sounds like a solution, right? Well, not when Manju flakes for 15 days out of the month, forcing the family to constantly order expensive takeout. This conflict is only resolved when the husbands, Sandeep and Rahul, decide they cannot afford the financial drain, so they step in, start chopping vegetables, and make the tea themselves. Seeing the men take on the labor makes the wives realize they really do need to share the burden. It's a powerful, very real lesson in domestic teamwork. Section 5, frugality and stale roti. Our next domestic story focuses on the exact opposite of the Mr. Beast unlimited budget.
We meet Mala, a new bride who moves in with a mother-in-law famous throughout the neighborhood for being a miserly penny pincher. Imagine the humorous but honestly brutal shock of waking up on your first day of marriage eager to cook a beautiful first meal. Mala wants to make tea and is immediately shut down by her mother-in-law with a ridiculous warning: tea causes cancer, just heat up water. Yep, she is literally told to drink hot water and eat leftover stale wedding roti just to save money. She won't even let her cook a fresh meal because it would quote-unquote waste ingredients.
And the crazy thing is, this frugality isn't just annoying, it gets dangerous. The extreme penny pinching gets so bad that Mala actually faints from weakness. And when she faints, what does the mother-in-law do? She makes her a glass of lemon water, but she leaves out the salt and the sugar because she thought she could save a few extra pennies. It's a hilarious but awful reality check that prompts Mala to retreat to her parents' house to devise a brilliant counterattack.
So Mala returns with a genius plan. She uses reverse psychology, proposing a religious ceremony, a Satyanarayan Kata. The mother-in-law eagerly agrees, assuming it'll bring blessings, but strictly warns her not to spend any money. So Mala maliciously complies. She absolutely refuses to buy ingredients, telling her mother-in-law she'll just go beg the neighbors for flour and sugar. She even calls her mom and asks her to bring a fake impersonator priest from a local traffic light to avoid paying a real priest's fee. The sheer absurdity of this ultra-cheap, chaotic ceremony finally makes the mother-in-law realize exactly how ridiculous her own extreme frugality has become.
Section 6. The true cost of effort. As we wrap up, we really need to synthesize these wildly different narratives, from Disney buyouts to fake priests.
What actually ties the fantasy and the reality together is the fascinating recurrence of the exact number 10,000 across both of our sources. It's kind of this magic number that represents entirely different universes of effort. On one side, in the world of Mr. Beast's internet fantasy, 10,000 is casually thrown away as a single tip for a waiter pretending to be a wingman. It's literal pocket change. But on the other side, in grounded domestic reality, 10,000 is the absolute breaking point. It is the entire monthly salary for a flaky cook named Manju that forces a family into a bitter dispute over who has to chop vegetables. You see, money scales, but the requirement for human effort, that does not. Because at the end of the day, effort and consideration are the true currencies of any relationship. Throwing $500,000 at a date definitely removes the friction of life, but simply chopping vegetables when your partner is exhausted, that builds the actual foundation to survive it. It leaves us with a fascinating thought to take away. When the chips are down and you want to show someone you truly care, are you trying to buy the magic, or are you willing to step into the kitchen and make the tea yourself?